Hello and welcome. My name is Jessica Prado, and this week we'll be covering the repeated measures ANOVA results that were run with ElleVate's data. In support of ElleVate's continuing initiative to retain and promote qualified personnel, we have the results from the repeated measures ANOVA. Please refer to the handout that was included in your packet, as this will go hand in hand with the video presentation. If you've got the PDF or the PowerPoint presentation pulled up, we'll begin on page 2. The results from this week's test show that there is a statistical improvement noted in both the performance of employees post-training. This was evident in both the 6-month post-test as well as the 12-month post-test, with a 95% confidence rating. An additional demographical factor of staff member location was examined as well. The data showed that there was no difference in employee success based on their location. So while the repeated measures ANOVA results are conclusive, they don't help us understand why performance has improved beyond just a general understanding that the training program is a driver for success at ElleVate. We need to check the impact of additional confounding variables, which are factors for which we have data, such as tenure of an employee, as well as the supervisor-employee relationship. Other potential variables are related to the time of year in which the employees are tested. For example, are we conducting the pre-training performance evaluation as an entrance ticket into training, like the day of training? Or are we doing this pre-training evaluation a week, 2 weeks, a month, or even a financial quarter before they go through this training? Additionally, are the post-tests, both 6 and 12 months, being conducted at times which could be considered peak season? So here we would look at employee stressors that are extenuating circumstances, work-related, and impacting the amount of time that employees have to complete the post-test, as well as an additional confounding variable, which is the setting in which they're taking the test. So in conclusion, we're getting closer to the beating heart of employee engagement via a differential diagnosis with statistical analysis. Now we'll go over how these results were found. On page 3, we have a brief look at the descriptive statistics from this week via histogram. Of note, the outlying test results may be affecting the histograms of both the pre- and post-test. Next, we have the steps for completing this test in SPSS. The first step is to click Analyze within SPSS, followed by General Linear Model, just like last week with ANOVA. But this time we'll choose repeated measures. The second step is to define the factor. Here we have time, and the measure is score. The third step is to define the scores measured at 3 distinct times. Select Options, then Descriptive Statistics, then select OK to run the procedure. On the next page, you'll find the output from this test. What we see here are the variables, which are listed as I-21. That's again the pre-training performance evaluation. I-22, the 6-month post-test following training. And I-23, which is the 1-year mark post-training, or 12 months after training. We do see in the chart which says descriptive statistics on the lower left-hand side that the means are improving at about 2 points. 2 points after the 6-month mark, and then an additional 2 months, or additional 2 points, in the final post-test, which is again at the 12-month mark. On the top right, we see Mauchly's test of sphericity. The sphericity assumption failed, and basically the significance, which we see as sig here, or the p-value, these are all interchangeable terms. The significance being at 0 means there's improvement. I have noted on your handout that the sphericity assumption failed, and the reason for that is because there was an additional step. We looked at the greenhouse geyser test within subject factors and found that this was the best result. And using the greenhouse geyser, we corrected the significance to confirm that there was score improvement. So the score improvement population means here are not equal, and this is how, using statistics, we're able to see that there was improvement over time with a 95% confidence rating. On the following slide, you'll see the steps for between subjects factor. You'll use the same 2 steps as before, but the third step is different. The third step is to define the scores measured at 3 times. It's important to define reports to location as the between subjects factor. Remember, we're looking at employee location as a confounding variable, and that's where we're going to test this. So, in order to do that, we'll select options, then descriptive statistics, and then we'll select OK to run the procedure. The next page, we have the outputs from the between subjects factor, which included the location. Of note here, we see that the interaction between time and location has a p-value, otherwise known as sig, or significance, of greater than 0.05. So the means are not unequal. When this happens, what we can take from that is that the factor of location is not important because the p-value is greater than 0.05. We've also included Mauchly's test of sphericity and noted that the significance factor and the greenhouse geyser factors show no change from the previous repeated measures ANOVA. The next slide is a continuation of the output based on location. And I've highlighted that the p-values for interaction of time and location, as before, are not unequal. There is no difference in the scores by the factor of employee location. So that's the end of the presentation regarding the handout. What we've learned over the past 2 weeks is that the IQ levels and the employee locations, or where they report to their home office, are not factors in their success in ElleVate. So whether they work in Chicago or Denver, their success in ElleVate, in moving up in the ranks, their success in the training program is not affected. So we will continue to be looking at things that impact this as we validate training, and we'll continue to look at more of those details next week. Thank you for listening to this presentation.